Hello, my fellow awakening ones. Well, hopefully, from my perspective, you're awakening, but whether that's actually happening is up to you, your soul, and those things. And your free will choice to awaken and step into that to one degree or another, or not. So I just wanted to speak on just what I see is in conformist thinking, people's, and this is not necessarily a complaint, although some of it will come off that way, but it's just an observation at one point from one perspective. But it's interesting to me to observe people's insistence on meeting indoors for things like even when the weather is nice, and they could choose to meet elsewhere outside, like going to church thinking, or temple or mosque, thinking I can only go and do the weekly religious service of my preference and upbringing indoors, regardless of what the weather is like outside. Now I get it. If it's cold and the weather is inclement, then it makes sense on a practical level. But if it's nice or it's very hot, and then people insist on going inside, and maybe even when the leader, the priest, the rabbi, imam, the head of the AA meeting, the head of the Food Anonymous meeting, cancer support group, whatever it is, they all insist, like nobody even considers, gee, it's nice, why don't we just do this outside? Like we all know each other. There's probably, I don't know, unless you're in a very urban, densely populated area, and even then there's probably a park that's within walking, biking, busing, carring distance. And I guess honestly, I'm just pointing this out. I do have an agenda, I'll admit it. I would love to see just whoever watches this, and as I put this out into the field, I will pray and intend that more people wake up to the idea and step into that you do not have to meet indoors for everything year-round, regardless of the weather. You just don't have to. If I were the head of a church, the head of, I don't know, a cancer support group, AA meeting, whatever, on, and it was nice outside, I would say, hey, I would at least offer, and ideally ahead of time, looking like, oh, the weather should be nice a few days, a week from now when we meet. Does anyone object to us meeting outside? I know we normally meet inside. Why don't we meet outside? Why don't we meet at the local park? Whatever that is for you, or even in a rural area if you can get to it easily. Who does anyone object to that? And I'll bet you maybe some people will, but most of the time most people will say, no, that sounds good. And even the objectors can be persuaded, because if you can get a consensus, maybe they won't show up, or they'll insist, no, we can only do this in our box, literally, physically. But I find most people are at least open to going with that. That's all I wanted to say on that. Whoever watches this, I hope I planted a seed, if you didn't think like that, for all of you conformist in the box type thinkers, which I appreciate y'all. You're very good at practical things and being focused and grounded. We need, it's like can't have the right side of the brain without the left, and vice versa. We need both our out of the box and our in the box thinkers. But to me, when you get to a point collectively, as we can see, where we've been doing things a certain way and that way clearly is not working, once you really get out of it and can look objectively from outside of it and see, like, maybe you don't have to meet in a box year round for a spiritual meeting or a therapy support group or to do art, unless you need a studio space. A lot of art people think it can only do indoors. You can just as easily do outdoors. I find you can do more things outside than you think you can, including, some people are houseless, and not everyone that's houseless, thankfully, is like that just by circumstance. A lot of people choose. They like sleeping outside. I like to sleep outside when the weather is nice. Sometimes even when it isn't, it's an energetic thing too. And I know, like, if I'm sleeping in a shelter in nature, I like that most all the tents that I've been in it could be boxy, but they're not just a square. They're usually kind of triangular or have some curvature. But yeah, I guess the moral of the story is we can do more, and we can do many more activities outside, and I think that we should when the weather is nice, unless there's some compelling higher reason besides just this is how we always do it, so don't question it. End of story. Like, well, it's not enough. I like to think I'm reasonable, while being abstract and out of the box thinking, but I have to have more than just the reason of, well, this is how it's always been done, so don't question it, moving on. No, not not good enough for so many different things. So many. I could go on for an hour just listing all the in the box conformist systems and processes and ways of doing things, and why they don't work collectively, and why they've brought us to this point of these systems collapsing, dissolving, and evolving. They seem to be either tightening all the systems, tightening control, the monetary, medical, education, and making everything more synthetic and digitalized and going into AI. But that's a whole other story, and replacing people with humanness with computers and AIs and robots, and I guess it is, but anyway, that's my spiel. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.